If Russia stops the invasion, the war ends tomorrow. What more needs to be said? Gorham Batch. I guess my issue, Gorham, is that it seems like the Americans are like sabotaging negotiations. There's been a couple of things that have come out that said that Russia and Ukraine, Putin and Zelensky were like, they had an agreement in a month. And the Israeli prime minister basically said he negotiated some kind of deal with them. And then the Americans stepped in and said, no. We got to sell weapons. That's what I'm talking about, Gorham. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, then 100% Russia's a piece of shit. They're wrong for attacking, and this fucking ends when they stop, and they're garbage. Fair enough. But if it's true that these attempts at peace negotiations have been made and the Americans sabotage it, I think that's not cool either. Babaji, thoughts on the New World Order? Is it happening? No, I think America is going to be number one for another at least 20 years because China looks like, because who could do the New World Order? Not Russia. There's not really that much to them economically. They don't really have the power. And then China looks like a paper tiger themselves. So who will be number one? It is India only will rise and the Hindu will rise. That's where it's at, Prince. That's where it's at. That's what everything's pointing to. The Hindu will rise. The Hindu will rise specifically. And they are Hindu nationalists too, as they're rising. They're Hindu nationalists and they're bringing back a glory of Hinduism. Kind of like how China brought back the glory of China. They called it the economic miracle or the miracle of China. They brought this many people out of poverty. Doing that next. They're just starting theirs because unlike China, they don't have this population collapse that's going to happen in 10 years. Unlike China, they're not a dictatorship that got easy, cheap growth without putting in the fucking time, dude. India's been putting in the time. You got to give them that. The democracy technically does exist. Now, the nationalism is coming in, and I think that's a mistake. But I do think that India, economically, population-wise, everything, India is rising, and they will be the next superpower. That's what it sounds like to me. But they're such goody two-shoes that I don't think they'll fight with America. So I think what's going to happen is America is going to lose a little bit over 50 years. Not too much, a little bit. And India will kind of pass them. But they'll still be almost like the British, where they're just like, okay, you are a boss. You are number one. You tell me what you want. Okay, we can do it. Don't worry. Like, I think India's going to be like that. Honestly, like maybe they'll shift. Maybe when the power comes in, they'll shift. But India is notoriously bad at attacking anyone outside of their country. Like, they're really good at suppressing Muslims and maybe women or whatever. Like, they're good at suppressing their own, like, fighting each other. But when China attacks them, what the fuck does India do? They take it. They take it every time. And China's been moving in on Indian territory for 80 years. And India does these like fake, like they do this bullshit where like Modi will go to the border and be like, we fought back and we did that. But it's like, if you look at the geopolitics of it, China's consistently moving in. India's just defending itself and losing territory. That's basically what's happening for 70 years. So when China does collapse, maybe India will say, okay, now it's time to hit back, take back Tibet, free Tibet maybe. But as of right now, I don't see India making any international moves. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to do any moves like that. So then they're just always internationally, they're always being attacked. They are just good at fighting Muslims. It gets the votes. You know what I'm saying? It gets the votes. Gorham Bach says, no way. Pakistan and India would kill each other if that happens. America will be number one for another 100 years. But Gorham, Pakistan, from what I can tell, might be a failed state in 10 years. So with USA gone, it will create a power vacuum amongst other nations. We don't want that. Yeah, but Gorham, like, who has the power though? Like, nobody else has the money. You know, this is what even American militarists and like people, pro-military people, this is what they're always scaring us about. That like, if we're not there, then this other guy's going to pop up. Who? They all suck. Like, nobody has the power to leave their own little neighborhood. China has this big military, right? They can go, I mean, like it's only functional for like 200 kilometers, 500 kilometers off their coast. The idea that they're going to put a Navy attack together and come to America, Canada, Africa, like it would take so little to defeat them. They have the biggest Navy, but like it's a useless Navy. It can't do anything. Russia, I mean, what could Russia do? They're going to they bankrupted themselves on Afghanistan, you know? So the idea that like, you know, even this idea to sell the Ukraine war, it's always this idea that like, if they take over that, then they'll take over this and they'll take over this. Yeah. I mean, they tried in Afghanistan. They couldn't take that. It just bankrupted them for 10 years. So how are you so sure that they're just going to walk into every country? It's like, if we don't do anything for Ukraine, they'll walk into Ukraine, then they'll walk into here and they'll walk into here. They can't even do Ukraine. They couldn't do Afghanistan. Like, what, America needs to be there? Do you really? I don't think so. I mean, America helps those causes. They help the Afghans. But then the Americans went for 20 years in Afghanistan. They couldn't win either. So I don't know. I think military doesn't work. Richard Matthews, Pakistan didn't say they were sorry to India recent weeks, saying they learned their lesson. Yeah, no, they're mean to each other. India, Pakistan, they are fighty and mean to each other. But sadly, you know, I don't take any pleasure in saying this. It looks like Pakistan's going to fall. And the moral of the story is, you are loved because you are loved. Such is the nature of love and kindness. Okay? So now that I've done my karmas, make sure you do your karmas, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and sign up for meditation. Ascension is upon us, foolish! Sign up for meditation immediately! Ha! Am I still here?